Good afternoon, folks. This is sort of a different type of stream that you're not used to me doing. I know people have been lobbying for several seasons for me to do some like live game streams, which we can't physically stream games even if they're on national broadcasts. Legally, we'll get demonetized. But I don't often do these watch parties either. So I'm not going to do that today, but I figured I'd hop on here for 20 minutes or so prior to the start of this game. I'm not in Iowa City, as you can tell. I will be in Iowa City for their next home game, actually, against Michigan State in a couple of weeks. But I'm sitting here. This is going to be a pretty casual 20 minutes or so because I'm keeping my eye on Indiana and Penn State. The Hoosiers, of course, undefeated, but now with their backs against the wall as I'm watching this, streaming it. That's a Fox game. Indiana down 4. It's 3rd and 11 on their own side of the field. And we've got a flag. It looks like it's going to be a false starter procedural penalty. Under 5 minutes to go. So Indiana in danger of losing their first, which will not affect them in the national championship college football playoff consideration race, if you will. But certainly could affect the Big Ten race as Ohio State sits still with 0 losses. Oregon and Iowa both with 1 loss apiece. So interesting. Of course, Indiana has the head-to-head with Iowa. If somehow it ended up there, Iowa wins out and somehow those two teams are paired up, Iowa would not have the head-to-head with Indiana. And we'll see if they have it with Oregon, although that would give Oregon their second loss. 3rd and 16 now for the Hoosiers. Mendoza throwing on the run. It's incomplete. So it'll be a 4th down and long with 4 minutes to go. Indiana down 4. So we'll keep our eyes on that one. And I've really not been in touch with the different scores around the country. I know everybody here is interested in the Iowa-Oregon matchup, which will start in about a half hour over on CBS. And we know implications looming large. If people missed my preview show, which was released on Thursday, I especially with the weather, I don't know what it's doing in Iowa City. In fact, it looks like it's stopped snowing here. It's been snowing in Ames for about the last 3 hours, and heavy, wet snowflakes. So don't know about current conditions in Iowa City. My guess is it's mainly stayed rain south of Highway 30. I've talked to some friends in Newton, Iowa here a little bit ago, and it was still raining there. So my guess is it's going to be very wet, as we've talked about all week, and likely breezy, although it's not real windy here right now. So maybe wind less of a factor than we thought earlier in the week, whereas the moisture could very easily be the biggest factor. Folks, you're welcome to call in. I see about 100 people here watching live at this moment between X and YouTube. Feel free to share the stream out. Again, this was kind of last minute in a sense, but I know people have been asking for it for a while. And I see a couple of comments here about the Oregon injuries. Yeah, 3 to 4 starters potentially down, it sounds like, including their star receiver and potentially their star tight end. Let me find the post, see if I can find that initial post. And it looks like, yes, this just broke within the last half hour. So I guess breaking news as we're doing a live pregame. Former Boise State quarterback commit Traden Bessinger has committed to Iowa. So that's big. A couple of weeks ago, he was in Iowa City. Then right thereafter, decommitted from Boise and is now a Hawkeye, at least verbally, has pledged to be a Hawkeye. This is from James Crepia, who's a beat writer for Oregon, the Oregonian. Let's see, Kenyon Sadiq, their star tight end, is going through individual workouts, but not with the Oregon tight ends. So that was tweeted out here about 8 minutes ago. So potentially he is one of several guys for Oregon that may miss this game. And it also sounds like Cory and Moore got hurt. Their star freshman receiver got hurt during practice this week, and he is out for the game. And there's apparently rumors about a torn ACL. So unfortunate there. and they are going to need their tight ends, and they're obviously the ground game is going to be huge if it's snowing or raining. If the ground's wet, if football's wet, obviously ball protection is going to be key as well. Folks, if you want to, you're welcome to join, call in. I threw the link up in the description. You're welcome to call the phone line as well, and provide your pregame thoughts. Cameron, thank you for being here. Pisgah Gravel Project, thank you for being here as well. Erica, Huck Finn, and CJ says he's nervous. Well, there's reason to be nervous when you're welcoming a top 10 team into Kinnick, but the good news is they're welcoming him into Kinnick as opposed to Iowa having to go out to Eugene. So that is positive. Steve, thank you for being here, Steve. Takoon, I see Amanda. Amanda, thank you. Steve, hopefully we answered your question about injuries. Again, as of right now, the Cory Moore freshman receiver is out. And give us just a second. So this is going to be a very natural pregame. We've got some tech people here. So as I mentioned earlier this week, for everybody who is a part of this community, this channel, I've been battling some serious issues with upload speeds. So if you noticed during our post-game show, post-duel show for Iowa Wrestling on Thursday, we had some serious issues with my video. And these are the hard things about technology, because we've had tech people out here about 3 different times in the last 3 weeks. And unfortunately, the last 2 Iowa football Saturdays, we've had to have tech people here on those Saturdays. So the issues have not been resolved prior to Saturday. So then you're dealing with people coming in and out of the house. So like I said, this is a very informal pregame show for everybody. And that's why we're calling it a Hawkeye Hangout. I'm like, well, we could just call it a pregame, but this is the definition of just a hangout. So this is what you'd get if we ever did like a watch party or anything like that. Chip Eichelberger is here. Yeah, DeCorian Moore is out. So apparently Chip is an Oregon fan, I would assume. And just to give everybody an update, 2:09 left. Fourth quarter, Penn State up 4 on the Hoosiers right now. It's 3rd and 10, I believe, Penn State ball. I haven't been watching it as we've been talking here online. So, yeah, I think I threw that. Let me throw the, if anybody has a call or a question, they're welcome to call in via StreamYard. Very simple to do that. Very easy to do that. You can also call the phone line, 515-635-1601. As Iowa and Oregon about 15 minutes from kicking off. Okay, so it's 3rd and down. Actually, Penn State ball. If I said that, I didn't say that. A stop for Indiana. So the Hoosiers will get the ball back after the 2-minute warning. So they've got no timeouts. Indiana undefeated, number 2 in the country, down 4 in Happy Valley, and with an opportunity. This was a scary game from the get-go, and it's a game on, you look at talent, preseason talent. Penn State was a top 10 team heading into the year. Yes, they lost their head coach. They collapsed against UCLA, collapsed against Northwestern. But the bottom line is most of the same guys are still playing. So you knew that Ohio State would have its hands full with Penn State last week. Penn State pushed the Buckeyes until that 3rd quarter. It was a 3-point gain at halftime. And now Indiana on the verge of potentially losing their first game of the season. Their first loss of the season here. Again, 2 minutes to go. Indiana down 4 in Happy Valley. Iowa, Oregon, I talked about this in my preview, but I just think it's going to be huge to convert on critical downs, and staying ahead of the chains is a mantra that we hear a lot, but I think it's just essential in a bad weather game. You get behind the chains and force yourselves to have to pass on 3rd and long. I think that spells trouble. And Iowa typically, besides, well, first of all, I actually don't remember the last time Iowa won a shootout at home. Typically, when they've won shootouts, at least under Kirk Ferentz that I can recall, they've been on the road. I'm thinking 2017 at Iowa State, it was 44-41. Hey, even this year at Piscataway against Rutgers, it was 38-28. So typically that seems to be what happens when Iowa wins in a shootout. So it's almost certain you're not going to get a shootout today. If Iowa wins this game, it's going to be a low-scoring game, and so Iowa's not going to be real aggressive on 4th down. Now, Oregon's aggressive on critical downs everywhere. They go for it on 4th down. That's why if you can get some drive killers and get some sacks early on early down situations, put them behind the 8 ball, force them to throw, they are most comfortable running the ball. Their running backs averaging literally like 8.3 yards per carry. I talked about that yesterday on my score video. So let's add in. We got Todd, who is joining the stream. Todd, welcome.
Hey, Cory, can you hear me?
I got you. And I'll say this: I recognize your logo from our streams, and I can't believe this is the first time I think you've ever called in. You're calling in on a pregame show.
So I actually called in. I think it might have been Albany, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. It seemed like nobody was calling, so I figured I'd jump in really quick and ask. I think. Go on.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I think the more I think about it, I feel like special teams and field position is going to be huge, and I keep hearing them talk about the special way that they punt. It's some type of like rugby punt where they go off to the side or to the right. They hold on to it as long as possible to make sure that they make it impossible for any kind of return. I think Oregon has like -1 yards for return yards for other teams. I feel as though field position is going to be key with how wet it's going to be with one of their top receivers being out. And I just kind of wanted to hear your thoughts on that battle.
I think that all goes back to the baseline of how Iowa competes against the best teams in the country, especially at home. If Iowa upsets Penn State, it's a low game. It's a low scoring game. If they upset Michigan, it's a low scoring game. They have not had success against Ohio State except in 2017, and it happened to be an outlier when Iowa scored in the 50s. But no, to your point, definitely. We've got some noise in the corner of the room. Definitely, it is essential that they control the field. Again, create drive killers, try to avoid drive killers on their side of the field. All of that's true. And the rugby style thing, the one thing to keep in mind, if I'm not mistaken, with the special teams rules is that punter, once he takes off, is no longer protected. So I don't know how that changed. I mean, obviously that's something that LeVar Woods has on tape, right? But once he takes off, guys can come after him and not be afraid of getting a roughing the penalty if they miss the punter. I believe that's the case, because then he becomes he's making himself a runner. So those are all absolutely great points, and it will be interesting to see if Caden Weegan even gets a chance at a return today on either kickoffs or on punts.
I agree. I just think Weegan has just been so electric over the past month or so, or basically all of October. And it felt like Curt Cignetti, when he was talking about Iowa, it kind of felt like that was the one player he feared the most. And, since then, I think Weegan's just been getting better and better.
It's interesting. It's obviously not it's obviously easier said than done to not punt to Weegan. Like it sounds easy to do, just punt out of bounds. I remember at halftime against UMass, and I get it's UMass, but you probably remember this, Todd. Halftime against UMass coach was quoted as saying, well, our strategy heading into the second half is we're just not going to punt to him. And then they punted to him, and he returned it for a touchdown. And How many games have we seen where teams are still punting to him? Whether it's just poor execution on the part of the punter, I don't know what it is. You would think it'd be so obvious. Just don't punt to the guy. So don't be surprised if he gets a shot or two today. And again, wet field might be a little harder as those gunners running down the field to stop. You're absolutely right. Punt return game, all going to be interesting. And then two, does it affect either team on kickoffs? And could you potentially get a return on kickoffs where you normally wouldn't, where teams are typically kicking the ball out of the end zone?
Right. Yeah, this is a game where field position, I think, is just one of the top keys, just because of weather, because of how Iowa plays, because of how it plays. And I've been on the lookout, or at least predicting that we got to be careful for some trickeration from Oregon on special teams.
Did you see, just real quick, did you see USC's trick play last night?
I did. I saw somebody say that they swapped the jerseys, or like they swapped numbers, and I thought to myself, how is that even legal?
So my understanding of what happened last night, again, this is based on, I haven't taken a deep dive into it because I didn't watch the game live. I saw the condensed version this morning. My understanding is it had to be done pre-game heading into the game. So I believe the backup quarterback changed numbers on this week's roster. And because it was submitted, I guess you just, in that situation, if you're the trickeration team, you're just hoping that the opponent doesn't notice. So I believe they switched numbers. And of course, two guys can have the same number on the team. They just can't be on the field at the same time. So he just happened to switch his number to the number of the starting punter, I guess. And, they don't have names on their jerseys. Not that coaching staffs are in the moment looking at a name on the back of the jersey, but USC doesn't have their names on the back of jerseys anyways, whereas, a team like Iowa does. So, yeah, I don't recall seeing that. I know, was it KJ Parker was it KJ Parker? I don't even remember who it was, but someone who is not normally wearing that number, or number 32 here a couple of weeks ago when Caden took one back for a touchdown, and you see him laying a big hit. I don't know if you noticed that, but there are times where guys will slip on a different number jersey because of that rule of not being able to have two guys with the same number on. But as far as a guy just switching it for those intents and purposes, I don't know that I've ever seen that before last night.
Right. And that was KJ Parker.
Okay, that was KJ. Good. The only reason I knew it was KJ is because at one point they zoomed in on his face, and I'm like, that looks like KJ. I thought it was kind of an interesting aside. I didn't know KJ was working that extensively on special teams, but yeah, good information.
Yeah, there was a nice little tidbit in the cinematic recap that they did this week where they kind of showed, all the guys congratulating KJ on the side and whatnot. So
yeah,
I just specifically remember that was a good moment because, he hasn't been the, breakout wide receiver we've kind of been hoping, but, for him to have some success on the special teams, I think is really encouraging, and hopefully does good things for him mentally on the field, and maybe he'll show out today.
That's a good point. We haven't really talked a whole lot about, there's always going to be pre-season hype that doesn't pan out. And he was a guy that I kept hearing. It wasn't just other people in the media, but I heard his name brought up a number of times during the offseason, that he was the fastest guy in the wide receiver room, and that he was really crisp with route running. And it's like, man, he's not even getting targeted. He's on the field here and there on offense, but it's very hit and miss. Now, obviously, moving forward, he's still young. Sam Phillips is going to be gone. Seth Anderson will be gone. Jacob Gill will be gone. So they have some attrition there. But, that's a good point. I'm glad to see him have some success at some level.
So my final question is, do you think we'll be seeing the slow mesh?
Have we seen it other than in one game?
I think that was the only time, was in Iowa State. I know that there's been a lot of beat reporters asking about it, and I think a lot of fans are kind of clamoring for it. I mean, if there's a team to throw the kitchen sink at this season, it's gonna be Oregon, at least for the remaining games we have left.
Just real quick, Indiana's first and goal now with 45 seconds down 4, so they need a touchdown now. Second and goal after an incomplete pass. I think the slow mesh is something that would probably take, assuming Warren Ruggiero is here after this year, my guess is it's something that will have to transpire more in the offseason. My guess is it's not fully in, so to speak. They've got some concepts there, but the fact that we've only seen it briefly in one game tells me that Tim Lester, Kirk Ferentz are not totally comfortable with it yet. And as I'm saying that, we've got a completed pass into the end zone, but there's a play stoppage. So it's a timeout by Penn State. So it was actually caught in the end zone, but what's his face, the interim coach for Penn State, called a timeout, hustled down the sidelines and got a timeout called. So yeah, maybe they throw the kitchen sink. I think throwing the kitchen sink this week with Oregon, it probably doesn't involve just like taking deep shots, stuff like flea flickers and, hard play action deep shots, just given the weather. So maybe the slow mesh is something that, you're a little bit more comfortable because you're a little bit closed off to big mistakes. I think.
Mm.
I'm certainly no slow mesh expert, but like I said, that's a new concept that was brought over by a new coach that is probably going to take some time for even just the coaches to be comfortable with running it.
Right. Okay. Well, that's all I really had. I was just curious about the special teams. So I'm praying for a win today. I think this is just so important for the program and the implications of the bigger implications that it has for the offense and how we're viewed nationally, and of course our playoff outlook as well. So anyway, appreciate your time, Cory, and go Hawks.
Absolutely, go Hawks. Thank you, Todd. As I say that, 3rd and goal after a big hit on Mendoza. It's now 3rd and goal, 41 seconds left. And Erica, all right, Erica's going to spoil it for us. She says touchdown IU. So, all right, so we'll wait and we'll see it happen. So drop the suspense. 3rd and goal, 41 seconds left. And it looks like, of course, the internet goes out at 3rd and goal. Okay. Let's see if we can change our connection real quick here. Okay, so we're back here. So now, obviously it's already been spoiled in the chat, so we'll wait and see what happens here on 3rd down. I'm assuming this is the touchdown play. Penn State sends everybody. Mendoza gets rid of it. Heck of a catch in the back of the end zone. Wow. Omar Cooper Jr. with an unbelievable toe tap off of an all-out blitz, very reminiscent of what happened between Iowa and Indiana when Phil Parker sent an all-out blitz late in that game. And here's the review. Let's see if he got that foot. Ooh, that's close. No, I think he got it. Depends on where the right foot is. I wish you could see what I'm saying if you're watching it. And yes, you might be ahead of me in the stream. Boy, this is really, really close. That's absolutely a touchdown. Yeah, I got the left foot in. Didn't get the right toe down in time, but that's absolutely going to be a touchdown as he's falling, being pushed out of bounds midair. He's able to get that left toe down. So an unbelievable play by Omar Cooper Jr. And this is yet to be confirmed, but I don't know why people are saying his foot hit the grass. There's no way his foot hit the grass. Well, it did hit the grass. Right foot never does. And then the left foot is down. That's absolutely a touchdown. He maintains control throughout it. Goes to the ground. Ball never bobbles. That's an easy call. And, of course, they're going to spend a good amount of time confirming this just because it's the play of the game. Now, the game would not be over. There'd still be 36 seconds and in Penn State potentially down by 3 if the extra point's good. But unbelievable throw by Mendoza off his back foot in the back of the end zone and an even better catch, which, speaks to that offense. They have been phenomenal all year. And they're still reviewing this on my end, so and here comes the call officially from the Stripes. And it is a touchdown, upheld. So they did not say confirmed. They say upheld. It's called that way on the field. Crowd's not happy, but it's the right call. I'd almost say confirmed. The look that I got at it, he clearly maintained control, clearly had that left toe down before any other part of his body touched down. That's an unbelievable play to potentially win this game. And Fernando Mendoza's looks like he's bawling on the sidelines. Okay. Whatever. Yeah, what an effort by Omar Cooper in the back of the end zone. Catch of the year, Gus Johnson says. I mean, he calls everything the catch of the year. So, and by his reaction, you'd think everything was the catch of the year. But that is a phenomenal play. I mean, Omar Cooper, I don't know how high he jumped. Looked like he was at least 4 or 5 feet up in the air. And then somehow gets that foot down and holds onto the football. A lot of shocked Penn State fans in Happy Valley. And for the record, I don't really like either of these fan bases. But, yeah. All right, folks, we'll wind this thing down because we got about 8 minutes to kick off here. So we'll wind this thing down here in just a minute. You good?
I'm just marveling at your work.
Oh, yeah, marvel at it. There's nothing to marvel, but
to get paid to talk about sports, it's got to be a pretty dang good.
They can all hear you right now, so yeah.
Oh, well, it's
yeah.
so good.
Oh, I enjoy it. Thank you for helping. Appreciate it. You coming back, you said?
Yeah, I just got to grab something from the
Okay. So just a little squib kick here from Indiana. Now 35 seconds. Penn State's got a timeout here. Again, first downs will stop the clock for a time here late in the fourth quarter. They've got good field position. I'm actually surprised that they kicked the squib, but you see teams do that, limits an opportunity to return. But that tells me Curt Cignetti has no faith in Penn State's ability to go move the ball, because all they're going to need here is about 30 yards to get in solid field goal position. And they got 35 seconds left, one timeout. And here's a throw that's going to give him about 5, and he steps out of bounds. So actually, that's not a bad play. 29 seconds. They get 6 yards in the play, so it'll be 2nd and 4. Brunkmeyer looks like he's had a pretty good day. 21 of 27 through the air for the backup Penn State quarterback. 213 through the air. And yeah, Steve, I don't know why there was a squib. I don't know what the purpose of that squib kick is, other than they just did not want to see a big return. And there's going to be a throw out of bounds. Will make it 3rd and 5 with 24 seconds. And Indiana bringing serious pressure. That front four is getting serious pressure on Brunkmeyer right now. Like I said, I love having internet issues the day of a game, right? Isn't that great? I would call out the company, but probably not the platform to do that. And those issues do happen. So, all right, here's 3rd and 5, 20 seconds left, and the first down strike to the 47-yard line will move the chains momentarily. They're going to have to clock this thing. And Penn State's going to call their final timeout. I don't agree with that at all. And Joel Klatt is talking about it. Save your timeout. You've got 20 seconds. The clock stopped at the first down marker. Why burn your timeout right now when that's your last one? That is your last one. So it'll be 1st down and 10 here for Penn State. Maybe. If the internet decides to work. And everybody probably knows about YouTube TV dropping ESPN here in the last 2 weeks. So now we got I believe this is offsides, my thing cut out, but now we're back. 1st and 5 now. Penn State at the Indiana 48 with 15 seconds to go. No timeouts for Penn State. Interesting. Grempmeyer steps back. Deep ball down the sidelines, incomplete. And now 9 seconds left. It'll be 2nd and 5. And now you're really going to have to run one more play and then hope for a field goal. They got to get at least 10 yards, I would think, to even have a shot at a viable field goal here. We got about 3 minutes to kick off with Iowa, Oregon. So see if we can get these last 9 seconds in the next 3 actual minutes. All right, Grempmeyer steps back. He's going to scramble. Now he throws. That's not going to get there. So now they're going to have 3rd and 5 with 5 seconds. And now you're pretty much got to play the Hail Mary game and go for the win here. Unless you think you can get a quick out and get out of bounds. 5 seconds, I don't think is enough time to do that. Grempmeyer made the right decision to throw because he gets taken down in bounds. Honestly, it was the right decision to let that ball go by if you're the tailback there. And now this may be the final play of the game. 5 seconds. Grempmeyer scrambling. He'll heave it to the end zone. This is going to get there. Be close and incomplete. And Indiana survives 10-0 with an unbelievable finish. So interesting. Very interesting. What a play by Omar Cooper, Fernando Mendoza again late in the ball game, and they moved to 10-0 on the season with a tight win over a Penn State team that has fallen to 3-6. All right, folks. Glad we could do this. Maybe we'll do this again sometime. Thought we'd try it out, right? Big game, big moment. So, folks, I'll be live with Coach Don Patterson following the game, as well as Matt Kroll talking about what we hope to be an Iowa win over Oregon. So appreciate you being here. We'll talk to you after the game.